I'm ecstatic about coming to the Rangers. I think that knowing the team and seeing the team and the young players that they do have, I really feel that we have a really good shot.
You didn't have to be, Lord Stanley of Preston to figure out that if you wanted to win a Stanley Cup, you had to have a guy like Messier running the team.
Mark Messier helped lead the Edmonton Oilers to 5 Stanley Cups. No franchise was more in need of his fiery brand of leadership than the New York Rangers.
What was happening with the Rangers at that time was that they had a pretty good team, and they were getting into the playoffs, and they'd get 1 or 2 series into the playoffs, and then something would happen.
If you're a Rangers fan during this generation, you have a lot of Gilden and Radnor in you. It's like, it's always something.
They needed somebody who was a great player, but even more so, show us how to win.
I'd just come off 5 Stanley Cups in 7 years, so I really felt comfortable on what I felt was necessary in order to win.
In 1991, Messier would have been welcome on any team in the NHL, but the Rangers represented a unique opportunity.
I love the history of the team, the original 6 team. I love the opportunity to try to win a Stanley Cup here. It just supercharged me to the point there that I couldn't see playing anywhere else.
When you think about it, there was quite a risk for him there involved. I mean, here's the consummate winner going to a franchise that had completely forgotten how to win.
There had been talks of Mark Messier coming to the Rangers, and all of a sudden he was skating in a pregame warm-up with the Rangers practice jersey on him. He was kind of skating by himself because everybody was in such awe that Mark Messier was on our team. And I remember looking across and go, that's Mark Messier, he's going to be on our team tonight.
5-time Stanley Cup champion, wearing uniform number 11, Mark Messier.
Messier had been brought to New York to lead, and in the Rangers' first home game of the season, he was officially named captain.
Now this team is the real thing. And I'm not sure that the Rangers were the real thing before he got here.
When he came to New York, he came to a somewhat dysfunctional team. A team that hadn't won the Stanley Cup, obviously, since 1940. He's brought in as a savior.
As a captain and as a leader, you start to see certain things and what needs to be addressed, and then so it's just slowly started to unfold and take shape.
Mark's command of the other players just made every other player on his team want to win that much more.
Messier demonstrated that command early on when he found a discarded Rangers sweater on the locker room floor.
I remember him picking a jersey up and saying, hey, you respect this crest. A lot of people have worn it before you.
And then really the sweater that you were playing for really meant something to me, and it should mean something to everybody. You should have that respect for that.
Personally, I never would have thought of it before, but it's just a little example of the things that he taught all of us.
Behind Messier's leadership, the surging Rangers won the President's Trophy and instilled hope in the Garden faithful.
I think that during that year, there was a feeling that great things were happening.
The immediate success and the drama that he added, suddenly hockey started to matter again in New York.
Messier one-on-one against Weinrich. Messier cuts in. He's got it. He scores! Messier with a quick step shot, and he scored!
Mark Messier came to New York to win, and in 1992, it looked as if the captain had begun to teach the Rangers how to be champions. But there were still challenges to overcome.
Ranger fans were so accustomed to things going wrong that I think as great as that year was, and Messier won the Hart Trophy that year, as great as he was that year, there was always the sense that something was going to go wrong.
The second season turned out to be a lot tougher year. We didn't play well. We had a coaching change. A lot of people felt I was responsible for the coaching change.
And the Rangers kind of collapsed. They actually finished last in the division.
It's just been a miserable, miserable time for the New York Rangers.
You just thought it was, well, it's just, it's the Rangers, they can't, if he can't win here, well then, maybe it can't be done.
There was a lot of ill feelings in the Garden, a lot directed at me.
And late in the season, Messier was actually booed. Probably the only time in his entire New York tenure that he was booed.
The disappointment of the 92-93 season might have broken a lesser leader. For the captain, it emboldened him and fueled his desire to win.
Messier races to the puck. Messier gets there. He scores!
It galvanized the team and brought them together with a true purpose for 93-94.
Here comes Messier again. He scores! Mark Messier!
You had Mike Keenan as coach, and Mike Keenan is just win at all costs. And Messier was completely on board with this program.
If he did anything, he held everybody accountable all year long. And with a veteran team and some talent, that's oftentimes the only thing you really need.
The addition of Mike Keenan provided the missing ingredient in Messier's recipe for success. The Rangers went on to win the President's Trophy and breezed through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, only to run into their arch rivals, the New Jersey Devils, in the Eastern Conference Finals.
You would have had to thought that if we're going to win the Cup, we're going to have to go through the Devils at some point. We're the 2 best teams that year.
To me, that playoff series is the best I've ever seen.
We went up 2-1 in that series and then lost 2 in a row to go down 3-2. The Devils were playing excellent, and we knew they were going to, and we needed to find, we weren't playing poorly, but we needed to find a way to play better.
There was a feeling among Ranger fans that this might be the end.
I think there's a natural inclination to just completely jump off it at a certain point. But then came the guarantee.
I felt what a great idea it would be for all my teammates to read the paper, as we always do, and open it up and say that, you know, I really believe that we can go in there and win. But, you know, a slight overview on my part that I realized that 14 other million New Yorkers, and including the New Jersey Devils, were going to read the same thing.
I remember just laughing, you know, like showing the headlines and you know, look what you got us into now.
Despite the confidence Messier had instilled in his team with the guarantee, the Devils seized control of Game 6 and jumped out to a 2-0 lead.
The feeling of believing that the Devils were going to win the Cup before the Rangers was devastating.
You know, we came in there with all great intentions, but the Devils just had so much momentum on their side. They were at home, they had the chance to close it out, but Richter just held us in there and held us in there and held us in there. And sure enough, right towards the end of the period there, we scored a goal. We felt the momentum had completely swung to our side, even though we're down 2-1. And sure enough, we went on the 3rd period, and it was a tale of 2 games.
Moving it over the double line, cuts to the slot, feeds Messier, backhands, he scores! Messier has tied it at 2!
Leetch drops it, Kovalev again, save, rebound, score! Messier gets his 2nd goal! The Rangers lead 3-2!
We felt we had momentum, we felt we had them on their heels, we felt they were hanging on.
For the empty net, Mark Messier, do you believe it? Do you believe it? He said we will win Game 6. He has just picked up the hat trick.
It became stuff of legend, you know, to go out and get a hat trick and to play the game he did and to do it in the 3rd period, and just, it's amazing.
Although Messier had provided the Rangers with one of their greatest moments, he still had to lead the team to victory in Game 7, a task more difficult than they could imagine.
The game was in the bag for the Rangers. It was just a matter of finishing off the last few seconds and then the gigantic celebration.
Driver blocks it, Larmer's on in, reaching center, stopped by Richter. The Devils score! They have tied it! The Devils have tied it with 7.7 seconds to go!
At that moment, I thought, despite all the confidence I had all season long that this was the season, that was the moment where I felt the curse came back to bite us.
It was tough, you know, we felt we had the game won, but maybe all the things that we had to overcome of the past history of the Rangers hardened us for that moment.
I think it was Lowe and Messier that just kind of gave it a little sarcastic chuckle and just said, all right, here we go, we're back at it.
Whatever it was, we were able to go in the dressing room, shake it off, and continue on with our quest.
Matteau goes for the puck. Matteau around the net. Swings it in front. He scores! Matteau! 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 The Rangers are headed to the final!
When you play 7 games, you don't have a lot of time to get ready for the next series, and I think Vancouver had a few days off. So when we hit that ice for the first game, we were in full form.
I don't think Vancouver was going to win that series, but throw in all the other things, Messier's leadership, the fact that everybody here wanted this so badly, and it seemed predestined almost by that time. I don't think they stood a chance.
Here it is. The waiting is over. The New York Rangers are the Stanley Cup champions. And this one will last a lifetime. No more
It was a tremendous moment for me personally, obviously, because I really came to New York with one objective, and that was to try to help win a Stanley Cup. What made it so special was that I was able to share that with so many people that had waited so long.
Even though he won 5 cups with Edmonton, I think the cup that he brought to New York is the one that he will be most remembered for.
Messier was the man who killed 1940. And for Rangers fans, that's what they'll remember the most.